let's just jump right in. Have you ever noticed that no matter what the market is doing, up, down, sideways, there's always some expert on TV warning that the sky is about to fall? It feels like we're in this constant state of financial panic. Well, today, we're going to pull back that curtain and figure out why these doomsday predictions are just everywhere. Right? It kind of feels like you've heard this all before, doesn't it? Last year, the year before that, probably even 5 years ago. It's always a new face or a different book, but the prediction is exactly the same. A massive world-ending crash is just around the corner. You see these headlines everywhere, and they're designed to grab you by the collar. But what if there's more to it than just random noise? What if there's a system behind it? A set of reasons why these predictions have become a permanent part of the financial landscape. Let's dig in and see what's really going on. Okay, so our first stop is the professional world of financial commentary itself. Because it turns out there are some really powerful incentives at play that make being a pessimist, well, a surprisingly fantastic career move. I mean, just think about how lopsided this is for a second. If an expert correctly predicts slow, steady growth, which, by the way, is what the market does most of the time, nobody cares. It's boring, you don't even notice. But if they predict a crash and get it right, even just once, they become a legend. They're hailed as a genius, a prophet. The career upside is absolutely massive. And here's the best part for them. What happens if they're wrong? Pretty much nothing. A failed doomsday call is so easy to explain away. They can just say, oh, I wasn't wrong, I was just early. Or they can point to something the government did and say it averted the crisis. And honestly, in our 24/7 news cycle, most of us have already forgotten about it by next week. It's the definition of a low-risk, high-reward bet. This really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? We have this built-in assumption that pessimism just sounds more intelligent. The person warning of all the hidden dangers seems so much more insightful and worldly, while the optimist can come off as, a little naive. This bias alone gives any pessimistic prediction a huge head start in the credibility department. So that's the pundit side of the equation. That's their incentive. But they are only half the story. The other, arguably more important half, is us. It's our own brains. The reason these predictions land so effectively is because we are biologically hardwired to pay attention to them. It's a real thing called negativity bias, and it's basically an evolutionary survival tool. Think about it. Our ancestors who paid really close attention to that rustle in the bushes, the potential lion, were a lot more likely to survive than the ones who just ignored it and focused on the nice weather. So to this day, our brains are literally designed to give more weight and attention to bad news than to good news. And you know who understands this psychological quirk perfectly? Media outlets. In fact, they leverage it to create this powerful, self-reinforcing feedback loop. Let me show you exactly how it works. It all starts right here. A pundit makes a big, scary prediction. They know that a message of fear is going to cut through all the other noise way better than a boring message about slow and steady progress. And then the media machine kicks in. They're all competing for your eyeballs, for your clicks, and a headline about a market meltdown is like rocket fuel compared to one about modest gains. So of course, they amplify the fear. And this is where we come in. Our negativity bias flares up. That scary headline triggers our internal alarm system, and we just have to click. We can't help it. We're drawn in by the potential threat. And in the end, our attention is the payoff. It proves to both the pundit and the media that fear works. They see what gets clicks, what gets engagement, and they make more of it. This creates a cycle that actually demands more and more pessimistic content, guaranteeing there's always a fresh supply of doomsday predictions waiting for us. But there is one final, really crucial piece to this puzzle, and it goes beyond just incentives and psychology. It's the simple, humbling truth that predicting the economy is, well, it's just fundamentally, unbelievably difficult. Now, to be clear, these pundits aren't just pulling ideas out of thin air. They are often correctly identifying genuine risks in the system. They see things like rising interest rates, global conflicts, or crazy housing prices, and the right to flag them as potential problems. But, and this is the absolute key distinction here, identifying a risk is not the same thing as predicting a specific outcome. It's one thing to see a dark storm cloud on the horizon. It's a completely different thing to predict exactly when and where the lightning is going to strike. Spotting the risk is the easy part. Forecasting the exact result, that's next to impossible. So why is it so hard? Because a modern economy isn't some simple machine you can map out. It is a ridiculously complex, adaptive system with literally millions of interacting variables, from consumer psychology to global supply chains. One tiny change somewhere can create these massive, unpredictable ripple effects that no single person or computer model could ever hope to account for. So, okay, we've looked at the pundits' incentives, our own brains' biases, and the sheer, mind-boggling complexity of the whole system. What do we do with all this information? Well, let's package it up into a new mental toolkit that you can use every single day. It really just comes down to 3 simple steps. First, spot the incentive. Every time you hear a prediction, ask yourself, what's in it for this person? Are they selling a book, a newsletter, trying to get on TV? Second, check your bias. Just acknowledge that little jolt of fear you feel. Notice how your brain is naturally pulled toward that negative story. And finally, number 3, respect the complexity. Just remind yourself that no one on earth has a perfect crystal ball for something this complicated. So the next time you see one of those headlines screaming about an imminent collapse, you'll be ready. Instead of just hearing the fear, you'll be able to see the incentives. You'll feel the psychology at work, and you'll understand the complexity behind it all. So the real question is, what will you be listening for?